Fourth and Miles. Welcome back. It's your boy, the coach. Welcome back to the Coach's Huddle with the Field Meets family. And we're going to talk about O-line today. It's raining out here, but we're going to keep it moving, man. We're going to stay careful. You know, read a couple of comments. Coach going to keep his seatbelt on. I have it on, but I don't like the over-the-shoulder jammy. But, you know, I ain't trying to get the channel struck down to nothing from doing anything stupid or dangerous, of course. But let's get into it, man. So, all right. The misconception or the narrative, really, on the offensive line for our San Francisco 49ers is well documented, right? We already know, especially with this regime, Kyle and John, seemingly they don't invest in it. They definitely, even when they tried to draft anybody high, they swing and they miss. You know, let's look at, Mike McGlinchey. We can go all the way back, as well as Aaron Banks. He's making $19 million a year, which is freaking insane. But with that, we've still been able to produce a good end result. And, I'm always stuck with the phrase when I think about our offense as it pertains to the offensive line is, do you want to be right or do you want to win? Right? Do you want to be right or do you want to win? And the right side of that is, man, we all know what a good offensive line is, man. Right? Like going to go get body snatchers, and we could be here all day with the argument of if offensive line is the road to a Super Bowl win, right? Or a championship team, right? Looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, they rolled out the biggest offensive line in Super Bowl history, right? And with that, the offensive line is always going to be in some form of the conversation, whether it be protecting Brock Purdy, being able to move defenders in the red zone when we really need them to show up, protecting Christian McCaffrey, keeping him upright, being able to utilize a full stable of running backs, right? Actually freeing up George Kittle from being attached to the offensive line. He's our glorified sixth offensive lineman. In some ways, he's made it easy. For us to even, operate the way we've done over the past 9 years with the offensive line. But I'd rather have more of a sobering conversation when it comes to, man, we got what we got. We got what we got, man. And because of that, it's time for us to take worth of what we have, right? Let's just kind of take stock of what we have. Ben Bart is down. Let's just deal with it. Ben Bart, you got an offensive lineman who's been trying his best to play. I have no question in that. Ben Bart, when he is healthy, I know that this doesn't mean much, but in a vacuum, when Ben Bart is healthy, dude, he's our starting left guard. It's almost a little weird that we took so long to get there. I guess, money gets on the field with Aaron Banks, but Ben Bart was better than Aaron Banks when he got here. With that, I think that Connor Colby is going to be all right if he is the slotted left guard. Now, one thing that I do like about Connor Colby being in at left guard to service that position while Ben Bart perceivably is out for just, the near future is that they didn't give it to him. One thing to point out is that Nick Zakelj has been holding down that left guard spot with the ones all camp. And in a sense, you almost had to believe that, I don't know, he got there by tenure. he got there just off of, his improvement. But I like the fact that Connor Colby came in unheralded and has played his way to beat out a guy that has been here for multiple years. Now, it ain't necessarily, it ain't Nate Newton, that he's beating out. I get it. It's Nick Zakelj, all right? But I'll tell you, man, that's a good start. I was able to watch Connor Colby on some film again with the Denver Broncos, and he did well. As a matter of fact, I actually watched some teach tape from some film review rather from Brad's channel as well, and I saw some film from there too. Drew Moss looked decent. So let's go by the numbers. The Niners were ranked 14th in the league at the end of the 2024 season for offensive line rankings, right? We had over 2,000 yards rushing. We ranked top 10 in the league for yards per average rush, right? And for what it's worth, with Trent Williams going down, all of the documented belly aching pains that we've had with Jake Brendel at center, particularly in the run game, they have done well. They have played beyond what the narrative has been, and I believe that it's gonna happen again. Dominic Pooney's coming in on his second year. We're possibly gonna play another rookie, and aforementioned Connor Colby, at left guard. Is Trent Williams going to stay healthy for the duration of the season? I don't know, right? This is year 16, 17, whatever, and it's customary for Trent to at least sit down for 3 weeks, and do we have a swing tackle in tow? Right now, no. I'm not gonna sell smoke, man. Spencer Burford, dog. You got me out here looking bad, bruh. Bad. Out here defending you and shit. He just doesn't look comfortable, man. I'll give him the mulligan because it's preseason, and what else are you gonna do? But man, we got to see some more from Spencer Burford at swing tackle, right? Do it for Little Saint. Something, man. One thing that I do have as well is I think that Colton McKivitz is going to have a year. I really do. He's been progressing every year, but I really believe that this year is going to be a jump. The Niners are getting a bargain for a starting right tackle in Colton McKivitz, especially in what he's given us thus far. He's been serviceable, all right? He's had some issues with soft shoulders, not staying parallel to the line of scrimmage, getting turned, going to the second level. He is a bigger guy, so pad level is always going to be something with him. But man, the year before last compared to last year, Colton McKivitz, man, he took a real jump, especially in the strength department. Stronger hands, stronger torso. He's always been able to keep up with the speed of the game. That's one of his strong suits, actually. He's always had great feet, but he's also been able to start dealing with pass rushers that are his size, right? Longer pass rushers that have the ability to play in the phone booth with a guy his size and get up on him a lot sooner, right? And shorten the distance. The year before last, Colton McKivitz struggled, man, mightily in that department. But I saw a lot of progression in that area. Certain things that I do want to cover as well is don't be fooled if we struggle early, dog. Especially with the offensive line. Don't be fooled. Because this shit happened last year. All right? Last year, everybody and their mother was talking about how bad the offensive line was. Oh my God, the offensive line. Brock Purdy's running for his life. What are we going to do? Right? But slowly and quietly, we had the leading rusher in the league as far as yards per average in Jordan Mason. Okay? And the facts is that this is the first time that we as fans had to deal with like a completely decimated and inept passing core. And that's not necessarily because of the guys involved, but it's also because of some of the guys that weren't there. All right. And Brandon Ayuk not being there. Even when he was there, you remember Brandon Ayuk had a rust period of getting open. You know, Ricky Pearsall wasn't available early on. We already had the horrible situation that happened with Ricky earlier on. So he wasn't there. Jacob Cowing was a rookie. You know, we didn't know what we were going to get out of certain guys. So, and then we waited forever to finally wake up and put George on, right? So, I mean, as far as like getting him up-tempoed into the offense. And during that time, within like, I want to say the first 8 weeks of the season, you know, Brock Purdy was taking on a lot of sacks, and, you know, the squeaky wheel, if you will, it was the offensive line. You know, like, hey, they're not getting it done. You know, Brock's running for his life. But I'm gonna tell you, we didn't account for this last year because we were fresh off the Super Bowl, and it was hard for us to understand what the offseason had done to us as far as like being able to be geared up for another season. But this year, you got to see it. If the offensive line is there's people chirping about the offensive line because either we can't run the ball or Brock Purdy's taking on sacks, you got to look at the skill guys. It's going to be them receivers that can't get open. I'm going to tell you, man, it's going to be them receivers, because you can't mess up inside and outside zone when you rep it out. Okay? I'm telling you, when we had Jordan Mason in there, when we were sprinkling in Isaac Guerrero, the running game was fine. Even more so when Christian McCaffrey was on his way back, there was a big contingency in the fan base of being happy because he was an addition to what we were already doing, right? That didn't bear out, but that's on Kyle. But what I will say is that the offensive line ended off the year 14th ranked in the league, okay? And the beginning of the year, they were top 5 in the league, all right? I just don't want anybody to fall for the banana in the tailpipe, okay? Them receivers, they got to get healthy and they got to get open. All right. Ahead. Christian McCaffrey, I don't know what CMC is yet. We got to be able to see him in the flesh. But a lot of this is going to fall on that running back room as well. All right. I'm looking for an uptick with this crew of the offensive line, especially with Dominic Pooney and Colton McKivitz playing together. That tandem, as the season progressed, they got better and better. Now, they hit a ceiling and a little bit of a wall because Dominic was a rookie and he was struggling with a little bit of redundant technique that was being, in my opinion, I felt like it was being schemed up because it was flaws, you know, having tall pad height, you know, not really good with independent hands, delivers a sloppy punch on the move. He's not necessarily connected with his feet and his upper body when he's pulling backside, especially when the Niners like to pull him backside for pass plays, you know. So in the run game, Dominic is class personified. And I refuse to believe that all of that progression that we gained, all of that time on task, all of those reps playing together, they just lost that. You know, I refuse to believe that. So I do believe that the boys are going to play cohesive early. If anything, for familiarity, just off familiarity, right? And I also think that, you know, if we can just right the ship at left guard, These guys playing together, they should be able to pick up right where they left off as far as being able to be a serviceable offensive line. The offense is actually fair to this offensive line. The ball gets out very quickly. Inside and outside zone are offensive lineman friendly running schemes. And the common denominator with everything that I've just said is the health of Trent Williams. I don't care how much you know each other, how much familiarity there is. If Trent Williams doesn't play, then we're going to have to find, we're going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat, man. The key tells for me with the offensive line, I don't want to cast any real judgments or predictions on the guys yet, because I haven't seen them all play together. But for me, the key to knowing that we're okay, that I think that the offensive line is going to be all right this year, is the utilization of how they're used to Kyle. If we're getting in the red zone and Kyle doesn't care, he's calling inside zone, I see that Kyle trusts the offensive line. You saw that last year where it was getting confusing, especially during the live watch show parties. Like, man, why are we going 5 wide on the 8-yard line? Why are we going gun on the 4? Right? And there was no confidence there. Right? So, guys, O-line is, business as usual. I don't think we're ever going to find anything at that left guard. That left guard spot is like that one store in the mini mart that it keeps changing every 6 months. It's a dry cleaners, then it's a Boost Mobile, then it's a liquor store, then it's a masseuse parlor, and then it's a tarot reading card place, then it's an insurance card place, insurance fraud. Like it's just, the place can't keep a business there for more than 6 months. Anyway, I digress. Hey, man, it's your boy, the coach. This is another little episode of 4th and Miles. Hey, I'm going to keep this going, guys. Just some other little things that we're going to keep going, day in the life, and bounce around the city. And, find more ways to get content out when I'm always thinking about connecting with you guys. And I just can't be in the studio. So life is lifing, like we said before. But that's just my little small take on how I feel about the offensive line moving forward. This is the coach. Stay low and keep your feet moving.